BCAL was founded in 2010 with myself and Ron Phillips. Ron was the ex-New South Wales Minister for Health, heavily involved in the public sector. My background is in the private healthcare environment. We both owned Sydney Breast Clinic in 2005, and we both knew that early diagnosis led to improved survivability rates for women with breast cancer. So it's been a passion for many years. And in 2010, we came across some science. We funded BCAL Diagnostics, and for the last 11 years we've been working on developing a blood test for breast cancer. So with the blood test, we're now at a stage where we need to take that to the real world market. So we're looking to use the funds raised in the IPO to start clinical trials and evaluation and validation at Royal Prince Alfred, New South Wales Breast Screen and other facilities around Australia. Our test to date is about 91% specificity and 87% accuracy, and we've got a clear path to market in Australia, Europe and the US. So it's a very exciting time for BCAL.
So what we're working on is to actually resolve a number of limitations that are present in the current screening method, being mammography, by introducing a blood test that can become part of the healthcare routine for women. They can have a blood test at the same time as the mammogram, with the aim of increasing the accuracy of the results. This will help resolve the frustration that women can have when they don't know whether they have a cancer or not, and when the results of the current routine screening are not accurate enough. What differentiates us is we look at the metabolic profile changes, where we look at the biomarkers of lipids that are present in women's blood, as opposed to looking at the genomic changes, where you can be looking at trace amounts of DNA, which in some cases might be very difficult to detect. So we do think that this sets us apart from other companies out there. The results that we have to date are quite strong and encouraging. We have specificity as high as 91% in some of our subsets and an accuracy of 87%. So I think it's really important to have claims that are scientifically driven, and I believe that's what we have at BCAL.
Initially lodged for TGA in Australia, we're going to run a dual track process with the European markets as well, and we're looking at entering the US market through a clear lab certification model, and that's what we'll be using the funds towards to fund the regulatory and the commercial entry points. We've also got a research partnership with Genesis Healthcare. They are one of the largest private providers of cancer care services globally, and they will give us market entry points into those markets: Australia, UK, Spain and the US. And we'd anticipate that our first revenues will be the end of 2023 in Australia, possibly slightly later in the European markets. My background is I trained as a nurse many years ago and have been the Director of Nursing and CEO of a number of private hospitals. I've worked both in Australia and internationally in various healthcare organisations. Ron Phillips, who I mentioned earlier, he's the ex-Minister for Health. He's a director, extremely experienced. We've got Jonathan Trollope. He's the non-executive director and chair of a number of listed companies. We have Dr. Marilyn Slay. She's got an extensive track record in biotechnology companies, both here and in the US. And we've been very fortunate to appoint Mark Burrows, non-executive director, to the board, who's got extensive experience both here, Europe and also the US in a diverse range of companies, and brings strong governance to the board. In terms of the management team, we've got a very strong management team who've got a proven track record in the areas that we need to execute our business plans. That's regulatory, compliance, science, and taking a diagnostic test from the laboratory into the commercialisation process and into a real-world environment. The money will be used to fund the management team, building the infrastructure around the science, the quality systems, the regulatory frameworks, the data analysis. Then we'll be funding the regulatory process. We're going to need some advisors in all markets. And then one of the large areas is the clinical pathway to market, product development, making sure that the laboratory test is commercialised and can work in all the real-world laboratory settings.
it will fill a huge unmet need in different parts of the world to enhance the accuracy of early detection of breast cancer. And with that early detection, we have enhanced survivability. So to be able to be part of something so great where I can actually impact on women's health, that is something that really drives me every day.
So for me, it's a very exciting time that the clinicians have given us the external validation to take the test into the real world. So very excited by the team, and also the ultimate goal of improving survivability rates for women with breast cancer. So if we can get this test to market as soon as possible, with the funds available to us today, it will be fantastic.